pupils, parents, and guardians. Let me start by thanking you for being a part of all our remote learning platforms, particularly our television program, The Classroom in Your Home. Each feedback has been awesome. Good job, you. Our teachers have been working assiduously to bridge the learning loss during this critical period. Therefore, I am pleased to inform you that the Classroom in Your Home has been extended to accommodate the lower primary classes and a dedicated lesson to cater for our special needs pupils in line with our mandate of providing an all-inclusive and quality basic education in our dear state.
Hello pupils, you are welcome to another wonderful edition of your favorite program, The Classroom in Your Home, a program organized by the Lagos State Government and packaged by the Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, LASUBEB. It is to ensure that you are academically engaged in addition to what you're learning in school, and I call that blended learning. I am Auntie Fumi, your English studies teacher, and as usual, I have with me your wonderful teachers.
Hello, wonderful ones. I am your mathematics teacher, Uncle Agbaje, but you know me as the Math Magician.
Uncle Popo is here, your general studies teacher.
And we also have our favorite sign language interpreter, Auntie Rosemary. And together,
we are bringing the classroom into your home.
Please stay tuned. My pupils, you're welcome to Auntie Fumi's English Studies class. And in our English Studies lesson today, we'll look at common mistakes in English. Common mistakes in English. There are so many mistakes that we make without we knowing it. So today, our focus will be common mistakes in English. But before we go into the learning objective today, you know the first thing we're going to do? Yes, that's the correction to our homework. Let's do that first. In our last lesson, what was the last topic? In our last lesson, we looked at homophones. Yes. And you were asked to use the following in sentences. Dear, dear, beach, beach. Yes. So, I came up with the sentences. And I know you will have something very close to it. Do you have something very close to that? Then you deserve to be celebrated with a cheer. Good job, you. I am proud of you. Now to the learning objective for today's lesson. Don't forget I said today we'll be looking at common mistakes in English. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify some common mistakes in English. And you should also be able to use some English words appropriately. Are we ready? Then let's begin. Let's look at this word or this phrase. Don't mention or don't mention it. Which one do you think is correct? Don't mention or don't mention it. Many of us often say, don't mention. Thank you very much, my sister. I said, don't mention. Thank you very much, sir. Don't mention. Don't mention. We use it as a response to an expression of gratitude. Well, the structure is not complete. It is incomplete for us to say, don't mention. It should rather be, don't mention it. Don't mention it. Does it sound strange to you? That is the correct thing to say. Don't mention it. Or you say, you're welcome, or my pleasure. So, stop saying don't mention. Make it don't mention it. Or you say, you're welcome, or my pleasure. Number 3, key holder versus key ring. Key holder versus key ring. Many of us will be shocked to know that the word key holder has been misused since 1700, very long time ago. The word key holder has been misused by many Nigerians. Key holder, according to Longman Dictionary, is someone who is officially responsible for keeping the key to an office building, to a factory, and so on. Let me take that again. Key holder, according to Longman Dictionary, is someone who is officially responsible for keeping the key to an office building, factory, and so on. Key ring is a metal ring. It can even be a wooden ring that you keep keys on to hold your keys together. So as from today, let's avoid this age-long error. Something that you hang your key in is called a key ring, not a key holder. A key holder is someone who has been saddled with the responsibility of keeping the keys belonging to an office building, a factory, a school building, and so on. Are we together? Have you learned anything new? Good job, you. Number 5, species. Species. S-P-E-C-I-E-S. Species. This word has often caused many of us great pain, as many do not know whether it is singular or plural. Well, species is a noun that has both its singular and plural forms spelt the same way. Species, S-P-E-C-I-E-S, is a noun that has both its singular and plural forms spelt the same way. You can only distinguish its singular form from the plural according to the context of use. Let's look at this example. There are many species of cats. Because you have cats, C-A-T-S, then it is plural. There are many species of cats. Now let's look at how it is used in a singular sense. This species of animal, talking about one animal now, is unique to my area. So you can see that species, it can be used. Now you can see that species in the singular form or in the plural form, they are spelled the same way. So don't get confused. Species biologically refers to a set of animals or plants, members of which have the same characteristics to each other and which can breed with each other. That is the meaning. But it has no singular or plural form other than the way it is being written. S-P-E-C-I-E-S. Are we together? Let's move on. The 6th one, the word grounded or grinded or ground. For example, when talking about pepper, grounded pepper, G-R-O-U-N-D-E-D, grinded pepper, G-R-I-N-D-E-D, or ground pepper. It is often confusing, is that not? Okay, let's talk about it now. The word grind, G-R-I-N-D, or ground, G-R-O-U-N-D, is equally problematic for many of us. Grind as a verb, when it has to do with breaking or crushing something into very small pieces between two hard surfaces or using a special machine, we have ground as its past or past participle form. Let me take that again. Grind, G-R-I-N-D, as a verb, when it is to do or when it has to do with breaking or crushing something into very small pieces between two hard surfaces. Maybe you're grinding with a stone or you are using the blender or the grinding machine, then it will have ground, G-R-O-U-N-D, as its past tense or past participle form. So what you should have is, she ground the corn last night. When you're talking about what happened in the past, as a past tense, you have she ground the corn last night. You don't have to say she grounded. It is incorrect. Not she grounded the corn last night. It is she ground the corn last night, or I've ground the wheat. I've ground the wheat. That means I have done it in the past. I have grounded the wheat is incorrect. It is I've ground the wheat. Grounded is an adjective, and it means something else. It means having a sensible and realistic attitude to life. I am grounded in the art of doing this, this, and this. Not, you can't use it as a past tense to crushing something into smaller pieces. Are we together? Good. Let's look at the seventh word. Upcoming or up and coming. Upcoming or up and coming. We use this in relation to artists, those in the entertainment industry. We often hear our media practitioners and entertainment industry experts use the word upcoming when up and coming is the most appropriate word to use. An up and coming person is likely to be successful and popular in the future. So the correct word to use is up and coming artists or up and coming actors, not upcoming artists. Not upcoming artists or upcoming actors. It should be up and coming artists, up and coming actors. Now let's look at buttock versus bottom. Buttock and bottom. These two words, in a way, refer to the same thing. Buttock refers to one part of the fleshy part of your body that you sit on. Buttock is one part. You know there are two parts. Yes, yes. The two parts. Now, buttock is one part. One of the fleshy part of your body that you sit on. Bottom is used to describe the part of the body that you sit on. So, they refer to the same thing. Did you enjoy the lesson? Have you been able to identify some words that you have been using inappropriately? Now you are ready to be able to use them appropriately now. Good. So it's activity time. Are you ready? Okay, let's do this. You are going to use these 4 words in sentences. Key holder. I already told you the meaning. Key ring, grind, and ground. You have 30 seconds to do this. Just write a simple sentence with key holder, key ring, grind, and ground. Your time starts now. Pens down. And now you have to have written 4 short and simple sentences using key holder, key ring, grind, and ground. Now let's do the correction together. Definitely you are not going to have the same sentence or sentences with me, but definitely you must have something that is relative, that relates to this, or that is meaningful in respect of the explanation I have offered to you in the course of the lesson. Did you have something very close to that? Then let me celebrate you with an amazing chair. Good job, you. Now, here is our homework. You have these 4 words. You are going to make sentences, simple and correct sentences with them. Up and coming. I already explained to you what it means. Species. 3, don't mention it. And 4, buttock. I believe you've, the way, as I'm reading them out, you're writing. This is your assignment for this week. And you know Auntie Fumi loves children who do their assignments. So, do your assignments. Make sentences, correct sentences with up and coming, species, don't mention it, and buttock. Good. And that's it for today. We had fun learning, observing some common mistakes in English, learning the appropriate use of those words that are often misused, and we've been able to make simple and short sentences with those words. And we've come to the end of the English Studies lesson for today. I enjoyed teaching you, and I know you enjoyed listening to me. It's time to hand you over to Uncle Agbaje, the mathematician, for another beautifully packaged mathematics lesson. But don't forget, Auntie Fumi is always proud of you. Bye.
Hello, children. You are welcome to this segment of the program, The Classroom in Your Home. It is mathematics time, and that means it is time to have some fun. I am Uncle Agbaje. Today in mathematics, we are going to be moving on to something quite new. But then today is Monday, and as usual, we'd like to begin with a math-a-thon, which is a 1-minute exercise where you exercise your mental muscles. Now, on the Magic Tuesday, we have learned so many tricks. Let me just remind you of one that you're going to be needing in today's math-a-thon. If we have to multiply numbers that have zeros, say 20 times 800, remember that all we have to do is to pick the significant digit, which is 2 and 8, and multiply them together. 2 times 8 is 16. Then we count all the zeros and put at the back 1, 2, 3 zeros, and our answer is 16,000. Now, how many will you be able to do in 1 minute? That is up to you. I leave you with this. Alrighty then, how many were you able to do correctly? Well, let's check out the answers. 10,000, 28,000, 6,400, 56,000, 3,000, 16,000, 500, 880, 990, 3,500, 1,200, and 8,100. Well, I'm sure that you must have at least gotten about 10 of them. Keep trying. One day you get everything. Let's move on to today's work. Our work for today will be squares and square roots of numbers. Perhaps you're familiar with what squares are, perhaps not. If you're familiar with it, then today's lesson will be a revision for you, my friend. But if not, then sit back and relax. It's going to be an interesting one. Before we go into the lesson, we'll look at the correction to that perimeter assignment that was given to you in the previous lesson. You will ask to find the perimeter of this shape. So without wasting much time, let's begin. Remember that with perimeter, we have to pick a starting point. So now to find the perimeter, we had everything together. 9 plus 10 is 19, plus 2 is 21, plus 6 is 27, plus 7 is 34, plus another 4, that is 38 centimeters. So the perimeter, my friend, is 38 centimeters. And I'm sure that you got that correctly. So I celebrate you again with a chair. Now moving on to that work for today. What are our learning objectives? By the end of the lesson, you should be able to appreciate the idea of square numbers and what we call perfect squares. You should also be able to find the square of numbers from 1 to 20. And you should be able to find the square root of some numbers. Without wasting time, let us begin. Now, what are square numbers? A square number, a number is said to be a square number. It's a whole number that can be arranged to form a perfect square using unit squares. You get a number of boxes, or a number of what do you call the bubbles, marbles, and you arrange it, and it forms a perfect square. Then that number of marbles that you have is itself what we call a perfect square. As you will see in this illustration, this is a perfect square. It's one square and it's a perfect square. All the sides are equal, and so 1 is said to be a square number because you can have one square on its own. The square is a 1 by 1 square because on this side you have just one line, one line, one line, one line. So it's a 1 by 1, one vertical, one horizontal. That's what you call a 1 by 1 square. Okay, and the root is also 1. The root is either the line here or the line here. That is one line, and that's what you call the root. But this may not be so clear. Let's look at the second one. After 1, the next square number is 4, and that is because you cannot have 2 squares and call it a square. If you have 2 squares like this, okay, let me pick a white pen here. If you have 2 squares like this, it doesn't form a square, it forms a rectangle because this side is 1, but this side is 2 lines. Okay, so this forms a rectangle. The next possible square number you can have will be made up of 4 unit squares. So you have 2 lines here, 2 on this side and 2 by the side. Okay. So it is a 2 by 2 square. Okay, and that means that on this side you will have 2 vertically, on the horizontal side you will also have 2 boxes or 2 squares. So there are 4 boxes altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so 4 is a square number. 4 things can be arranged side by side to form a square. So 4 is a square number, and the root is 2 because there are 2 boxes along the side. 2 here, 2 here, equal sides. The square of every number is formed by multiplying the number by itself. So you can see it's very easy to get perfect squares. For example, the square of 10 is written as 10 with a power of 2. Do you remember the power of 2? So it's the same thing as saying 10 multiplied by itself. And so the square of 10 is 100. And that means that 100 is a perfect square where you have 10 squares along the side and 10 squares by the base. Okay, so 100 is a perfect square. Like I said earlier, every whole number has a square. 1 has a square, 1 by 1 square. 2 has a square, 2 by 2 square, that is 2 times 2, that is 4. 3 has a square, 3 by 3, and that is 9. So do you know the square of all these, the squares of these numbers? Let me give you 1 minute and see how many of them you can fill up. Begin. Alrighty then, how many of them were you able to get? Well, you should get the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 easily. I remember when I was in primary school, we had to know all the squares table, at least up to 20 offhand. So these are the squares of all these numbers. There is no need to worry about it. If you don't remember, just do it the old-fashioned way, multiply the numbers by themselves using any of the multiplication methods that you know, and you will have their squares. Although it helps sometimes if you have them in your memory as well, but nobody's going to punish you for not knowing the squares. Just get ready to do it the old-fashioned way, that is multiplying by themselves. Okay, so 1 squared is 1. A 5 by 5 square will have 25 equal squares, 25 smaller squares inside, and so 25 is a perfect square. 6 squared is 36, and that means 36 is a perfect square with 6 squared by the side and 6 squared horizontally. 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64, 9 squared is 81, 11 squared, 10 squared of course is 100, 11 squared is 121, 12 squared is 144. You should know up to that point. Now 13 squared is 169, 14 squared is 196, 15 squared 225, 16 squared 256, 17 squared 289, 18 squared 324, 19 squared 361, 20 squared 400. You don't need to put all this to head. It's not compulsory, but you can do it the old-fashioned way whenever you need it. Okay, but finding the squares of numbers is very easy. If I want to find the square of 24, I just multiply 24 by 24 and I get the answer, and I know that that is a perfect square. Okay, but when you know that a number is a perfect square, how do you find the root? That is, how do you know the number of squares that will be by the side and the number of squares that will be by the base? Don't forget that the square has all sides equal. Okay, so if you know that a number is a perfect square, which two numbers will you multiply together to give you that perfect square? And that is what we call the root. For example, 4 is a perfect square and it has 4 small squares, but the root will be the number of squares by the side, which is 1, 2. The root is 1, 2. So the root of 4 is 2. And so if I subdivide this further, I can always get more perfect squares, and then the root will keep changing. So, but if you know that a number is a perfect square, how do you get the root without having to draw boxes? That is what we're interested in. And so basically what we need to do is that we need to find a number that can be multiplied by itself 2 times to give the perfect square that we're looking for the root. Finding the square of numbers is easy. You just multiply them, but finding the root is what is more challenging. If you know a perfect square, we have to find a number that will be multiplied by itself to give that perfect square, and that is the challenge. But I have good news for you, my friend. It's not as difficult as you may think. We only need to use one of the tricks that we have been taught in our previous lessons. So the first example says we should find the square root of 196. Okay, so that means we should find a number that can be multiplied by itself to give 196. Is it 8? Could it be 9 or 10 or 16? Guessing game will not work, my friend, unless you know the method to it. Like I said, I have good news for you. We will leverage on something that we have done before. Do you remember prime factorization? Prime factorization, breaking down numbers by using prime factors to divide them. Now, prime numbers, as you may recall, are numbers that can only be divided by themselves and 1. Examples are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and so on like that. There's so many of them. So I just put this here to remind you. So what we're going to be doing essentially is to break this number down using prime numbers. Remember that all numbers that are not prime can be broken down by prime numbers. So we'll do just that for this. And that will help us to find out the number that we are looking for. Remember, we are to find a number that can be used to multiply itself to give 196, and we cannot afford to guess. So let's begin with 2. 2 can divide that 196. How many times? 98 times. Because 2 goes in 19, 9 times, remaining 1. 2 goes in 16, 8 times. So we have 98. 2 can still divide it, so let's use 2 to divide. 2 goes in 98 49 times, because 2 goes in 9 4 times, remaining 1. And if I put 1 here, then I get 18. Now 2 goes in 18 9 times. 2 can no longer divide. 3 cannot divide. 5 cannot divide. But 7 can divide. So we have 7 goes in 49 7 times. And 7 goes in 7 1 time. Now we've gotten to the end. But how does this factor into what we want to do? Have we found the number that is it going to be 2 or is it going to be 7? 2 times 2 is 4. 7 times 7 is 49. That doesn't give us 196. We need a number that will multiply itself twice to give 196. Okay, so observe. So we write 196 out as 196 is the same thing as saying 2 times 2 times 7 times 7. Do you remember this? But we now observe that 2 is coming twice and 7 is coming twice. Yes, that will always happen for all prime numbers. So we can pick 2 and 7, and we can pick 2 and 7. That is 2 and 7, 2 and 7. And so we can write this as 196 is saying 2 times 7 times 2 times 7. And that means we have found a number. Observe that they are the same thing. This one is the same thing as this one. So this number is multiplying itself to give 196. So we have found the square root of 196, a number that will multiply itself. 2 times 7, 2 times 7. And so how do we write it out symbolically in mathematics? To say, I have found the square root of 196, we use this symbol that you see here that looks like a first cap. Yes, we put a first cap on 196 and say, the root of 196, that's what it means, is 2 times 7. You don't need to write both of them. We only need one number. Here, we're just showing that that number is multiplying itself to give 196. But the root of 196 is actually one of them, which is 2 times 7. And 2 times 7 is 14. And so that means that when you multiply 14 by 14, you will get 196. So the root of 14 is 196. And basically what it means is that if you have 196 marbles or 196 small squares, and you so arrange it to form a perfect square, on one side you will have 14 squares, and by the base you will have 14 squares. Now, here is one for you to take on your own. I believe the examples were straightforward enough. You will have 1 minute 30 seconds to do this. Begin. Alrighty then. I believe that you are done by now. It must have been easy for you, my friend. But let's just run through it together in case there are any gray areas. We want to find the square root of 324, so we decompose 324 using prime numbers. 2 is the first prime number and it can divide. 2 goes in 3 one time, regroup 1 here. 2 goes in 12 6 times, then in 4 2 times. Now, 2 can still divide. 2 goes in 16 8 times, in 2 one time. 2 can no longer divide, but 3 can divide. 3 goes in 81 27 times, because 3 goes in 8 2 times, and we regroup 2. 3 goes in 21 7 times. 3 can still divide. 3 goes in 27 9 times, and 3 goes in 9 3 times, then 3 goes in 3 one time. Now, again, we only pick one, take one, pick one, take one. And so we'll pick the first and leave the second, pick the third and leave the fourth, then pick the fifth. So we're picking 2 3 3, and we're leaving 2 3 3, the same thing. So we only need one. And so the square root of 324 is 2 times 3 times 3. And that is 2 times 9. And of course, that is 18. Easy peasy, this work with square root. Of course, you will have enough to practice with your assignment, which is coming up right about now. You're going to find the square root of 441 and 784. You can also try your hands with all the square roots. That will be the practice for you, my friend. And you can also try our online catalog where we have enough online assessments for you to practice with. Now it's time for me to hand you over to Uncle Popo for the General Studies lesson. Till I come your way in the next class, remain wonderful mathematicians. Bye-bye now.
Hello pupils, you are welcome to General Studies class. I am Uncle Popo. Uncle Popo is here.
I am also here.
Good. We are here together.
100% attention.
Excellent. I'm very happy that you are promising to give me 100% attention in today's lesson. Our subject for today is basic science and technology. In our last lesson, we discussed air, and we talked about common uses of air pressure. We also defined air as a mixture of gases, and you were told the components of the gases. You were told the gases, the nitrogen, water vapor, carbon dioxide, and so on. So today we are moving on to another topic. Our topic for today is mineral resources. Say that. I know some of you are looking at it. Mineral resources, we've done something like this in social studies. Yes, we also have related topic like this in basic science and technology. So mineral resources, no, having done it in social studies or you have done it before, is providing avenue for me that you quickly pick or understand what I'm about to teach you in today's lesson. So the learning objectives, by the end of the lesson, you should be able to define minerals, list examples of mineral resources, and you should be able to state the importance of mineral resources. Are you ready, pupils? I want you to say yes, Uncle Popo. Are you ready, pupils? Good. Now, minerals. Minerals that we are talking about is not Coke or Fanta or any of the soft drink that you can imagine. So all those ones are not minerals we are talking about. Minerals are natural deposits found in the soil. Minerals are what? Natural deposits found in the soil. These are just pictures. Then as we proceed, you get to know what these minerals are. There are liquid and solid minerals. They are what? Liquid, and we also have solid minerals. Let's look at them. First of all, let's look at the solid minerals. They are, when talking about solid minerals, they are hard and shiny with special color. That's why they are referred to as solid minerals. They are hard and shining with special color. Let's look at the examples of them. In their natural state, they are called ore. They are called what? Ore. In their natural state, that means when you just try to bring it out from the soil, they are called ore. Because before you start trying to extract or make it in another way or use it to produce other things, in their natural state, after you extract them from the soil, they are called ore. That's what I mean by in their natural state. Examples of solid minerals are, let's look at them. The first one is zinc. Say that. Zinc, that's one example of solid mineral. Let's look at another one. This is copper. Say that. Copper. Look at it. That's another example of solid mineral. Let's look at another one. And I have gold. Say that. Wow, I know some of you love having gold. This is gold. That's another solid mineral. We also have diamond. Say that. Wow, I love this diamond. Let's look at another one. Okay, that's all for that. All the ones I've just showed to you, they are solid minerals. Now let's look at liquid minerals. Examples of liquid minerals. When we talk about liquid minerals, they are soft minerals that can flow because they are liquid. So they are soft minerals that can flow. Examples. Most common is petroleum. Say petroleum. Good. Most common of the liquid mineral is petroleum. From which product, like from petroleum, is a liquid mineral, and from petroleum we can get products like we have our petrol, we have diesel, kerosene, we have many products like that extracted from petroleum. So petroleum is one of the examples of liquid mineral. So let's look at it. This is petroleum. Common minerals in Nigeria. Let's look at more examples of common mineral. I've talked about petroleum. It's one example. Let's look at this is another mineral, limestone. Say that. Limestone is also another example of mineral. This time I'm not talking about whether one is liquid or the other one is solid. So I'm talking generally about minerals, resources. So this is limestone, is an example of a mineral resources. Now next one is tin. Say that. Tin, and tin is mostly found where? Which state? You say what? Yeah, tin is mostly found in Jos. Now let's look at another example of mineral. That is a coal. You can see the picture. Coal. We mostly find coal in Enugu. So we have columbite is another example of minerals. So now, having looked at the examples of the minerals we have in Nigeria, and let me tell you this, those mineral resources are blessing from God. It's not that every country or all countries in the world have minerals like this. We have some countries that have some do not have. So it's a kind of blessing. Like Nigeria is blessed with more of mineral resources. That is why they always see Nigeria, or they are seeing Nigeria to be one of the richest country in Africa, or one of the richest in the world, because of the mineral resources we are blessed with. Now let's look at the importance of mineral resources in Nigeria. The first one here is products from petroleum or crude oil are used as fuel at home, industries, and motor vehicles. That's one of the importance. The product we get from petroleum or crude oil are used as fuel at home, industries, and for motor vehicles. That's one. Coal tar and bitumen are used in road construction. Like you can see here, I know some of you maybe while going home or going back from school, maybe you have witnessed where you are trying to construct roads. You see this dark coal tar, this is coal tar and bitumen, they are used in road construction, something like this. So that's another importance of mineral resources. Gold for making jewelries. You can see the gold that you see some women or your mom or somebody maybe on television seeing people wearing jewelries. They are made from gold. So gold for making jewelries. So that's another importance of mineral resources. Iron ore for making steel and iron. The iron you are seeing, we get all these from iron ore. So that's another importance. Looking at this, limestone for making cement. You know, the cement, you know, when you want to build any house, especially with brick, you will need to use cement. Now let's look at effect of mineral exploitation in Nigeria. effect of mineral exploitation in Nigeria. What does that mean? Wait, let me explain. Let's look at the good effect of mineral resources in Nigeria. One, it provides money for the government. All these mineral resources, our government get enough money from it, and the money government get from all these, they are using it to try to build roads, hospitals, schools, and to make sure citizens are really taken care of. So that's one good effect of mineral resources. It provides job for people. Like you were shown where people were constructing road, the bitumen and the coal tar, you know, we have the resources, and from that people are given opportunity to work, to tar the road. And then in some other areas like the limestone, you know, we have some people that will extract all these, like the miners, to get our gold. So it's a kind of job opportunity for people to work in different areas like that. So it provides job for people. Next one is it improves the living condition of the people. Now, providing job and providing money for government will give the opportunity for citizens to have improved living condition. You know, trying to tar our road, enough school, and getting those mineral resources and the money we get from it will help us to have a better living condition and will make our life comfortable. All these are good effects of mineral resources, but we still have bad effects. Let's look at them. One, it makes the soil not useful for farming. Wherever they are trying to get our petroleum, especially in those states where they get petroleum from, their land, most of their land are not useful for farming anymore because of the trying to get that petroleum from the soil. So it will make the soil not to be useful for farming or for some other purpose. That's one bad effect of it. Next one is overexploitation make the minerals reduce in quantity. Another bad effect is it can cause earthquake or landslide. We have some countries where trying to get mineral resources from their soil has caused them earthquake or landslide. Although we are blessed in the Nigeria, event or earthquake or landslide like this is not happening like some countries where they experience earthquake or landslide, and due to the human activities in trying to explore, in trying to get some mineral resources from the soil. So that's another bad effect. It's time to test and see if you had given me your 100% attention like you promised when I started evaluation. So I have just 3 simple questions. Question number 1, what are minerals? Question number 2, list 5 examples of mineral resources in Nigeria. And question number 3, write one major use of the following. A, gold. That is, what do we use gold for? B, limestone. Limestone for what? Iron ore for making what? So these are the questions. You have just 40 seconds to attempt this. Your time starts now. Eyes on me. Uncle Popo is here. Good, you are still there. So let's mark together. Question number 1, what are minerals? Minerals are natural deposits found in the soil. Question number 2, list 5 examples of mineral resources in Nigeria. I know you have to mention petroleum. Petroleum, tin, gold, columbite, limestone, coal, examples of mineral resources. Write one major use of the following. Gold, for making what? I told you gold for making jewelries, limestone for making cement, iron ore for making steel and iron. You scored all the questions correctly. 3/3 or 2/3, your hands. Good, I have brilliant pupils as friend. We have come to the end of today's lesson. Until next time, next lesson, Uncle Popo says, keep on studying. Bye.
Please encourage your wards to tune in and take every advantage of this laudable program. Also remember, this pandemic is not over. Let us continue to abide by all health and safety guidelines as stipulated by the government. At LASUBEB, we are determined to leave no child behind in our quest to improve the standard of basic education in our state. Thank you.
My wonderful pupils, we have come to the end of another exciting episode on the classroom in your home.
Exciting indeed. We have had fun teaching you and putting you through several new concepts. We hope that you have learned a lot of things today. Now, do you know you can get a chance to practice all that you have learned? All you have to do is visit our online catalog of tests. There you'll find a plethora of assessments testing all that we have been teaching from lesson 1 till date. The link for that online assessment can be found on bit.ly/LASUBEB tests. The link again is bit.ly/LASUBEB tests. Remember, these online assessments are our way of knowing how well you're performing because we want to help you to raise your academic performance.
Taking the online assessment is based on if you have access to either your daddy's, your mommy's, your uncle's, or your auntie's Android or smartphones. If not, there's no problem at all. Just send your questions, your comments, and your assignments to 081 5086 5663. It is showing on your screen already. Please, SMS or WhatsApp messages only. Do not call that line. And when you are sending your assignments, make sure you indicate your name,
Your school,
Your class.
and your local government education authority, your LGEA. That is the only way we'll be able to identify you and appraise you accordingly.
Good. Today's lessons and previous lessons are on LASUBEB YouTube channel for you to watch at your own preferred time. Subscribe to LASUBEB YouTube channel to get notification when new videos are uploaded. The classroom in your home could be watched live on Facebook, the same time airing on television through the page showing on the screen.
Until our next lesson, when we shall meet again for another beautifully packaged edition of the classroom in your home, please make sure you do your homework.
Wash your hands regularly.
study hard, but
Stay safe. Because at LASUBEB, we leave no child behind.